on the railroad. A lot of neat power here at Hoboken right now. Here's the CNJ unit. He's getting ready to leave at 2:27 on train 877 for Hackettstown. And time is 2:27, departing is train 877. Got a long trip to Hackettstown with a gem on the point. NJ Heritage Unit. I've been very lucky. I've caught that locomotive many times. 2/3 of the Heritage fleet on New Jersey Transit is here. The Erie Lackawanna is going to be departing on a train for Newbridge at 2:58. More classic power departing at 2:37. That's a mainline bound train. There's a set of Arrow MUs departing for Gladstone at 2:41. And this is train 49 departing for Middletown, New York. French onion soup took the day off today. He's got a little journey ahead of him, pulled by a GP40 FH2. You're looking at Terminal Tower. That's the brains of the whole area and surrounding areas of New Jersey Transit. And departing at 2:58 is train 1853. En route to Newbridge on the Pascack Valley line with a locomotive that's most appropriate for this station. I've seen many of these for real departing here years ago. Well, the only one I haven't seen today is the Pennsylvania Heritage Unit, but the day is still young. And time is 3:50. I just got off of this tired but still peppy Arrow MU at Newark Broad Street for some train watching. Beautiful cathedral here. All the traffic you see in the foreground is Interstate 280, which parallels this Morrison-Essex line for quite a distance west. And departing at 3:52 is train 1003 for Denville. Runs via the Boonton line. He'll curve off the Morrison-Essex at Roseville Avenue interlocking, go up towards Montclair and west on the Boonton line to Denville. This station is one of two busy stations in Newark, the other being Penn Station, where Amtrak trains stop. This magnificent structure is the station building at Newark Broad Street. It was built in 1905 for the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Railroad, one of many fortress-like structures that were built on that superbly engineered railroad. This station serves trains on the Gladstone line, the Morrison-Essex line, and the Boonton line. It's a very busy station. It's also served by the Newark Light Rail system. The light rail system reached this station in 2006. The light rail system runs sort of a backward J-shaped route between here and Newark Penn Station and then up to Grove Street. An appropriate address for this station. And from the street you can see the catenary supports of this old Lackawanna Railroad electrification. It was electrified back in 1930. And they ran with those old Thomas Edison MU cars. When they were delivered, Thomas Edison was at the controls of one of the first trips. In fact, back in September of 1969, my very first trip on the Erie-Lackawanna was on those cars, and I took a ride from Hoboken to here and returned. And an outbound train arriving at the station upstairs. And here comes the light rail coming from downtown Newark and Grove Street. He'll terminate here and go back. That's a Hackettstown bound train with a cheap 40. Coming in at 4:13. Oh, here's a special movement. Some kind of maintenance away train.
To Hoboken, stopping at Hoboken. Please stand back from the yellow line. Please watch the gap between
Here we see the Hackettstown train departing west. Here we got a set of Arrow MUs arriving from the west on track 2 at 4:15, bound for Hoboken. This iconic station was a long-distance station at one time. Up until 1970, January, the Erie Lackawanna's Lake Cities operated through here between Hoboken and Chicago. You could catch trains like the Phoebe Snow for Chicago, the Owl, the Pocono Express for Scranton. Quite a few long-distance trains stopped here back in the day. And we have a Summit-bound train at 4:25. Powered by an ALP 46. I think it's an ALP 46A. I'm not sure where the cutoff was from the original ALP 46s. And that train came out of New York. Unlike the Arrow MUs that run on this line, the electric locomotives can interchange between the voltages. The Northeast Corridor uses 12.5 kilovolts, I believe, and this line uses 25 kilovolts. When they transition from the corridor to here, they just pass through the phase gap and they can make the transition to the different voltage. The Arrow MUs cannot. They're pretty much held captive to this line. If they want to run the Arrow MUs on the Northeast Corridor, they have to do some time-consuming modifications, throwing switches on the pantographs and under the cars. The city of Newark is relatively quiet these days, but in the late 60s, you wouldn't have wanted to be here. The infamous Newark riots took place here. Oh, terrible damage, terrible. Very unsafe to be here. And here we have another ALP 46. That's what they call all of these. They don't designate between the straight ALPs or the A's. This is a Dover-bound train. 4:45, we have a set of Arrow MUs for Gladstone. And at the same time, we have a New York bound train for Penn Station.
Attention, Newark Broad Street customers. The next train to stop on track 3 will be the 4:50 p.m. westbound train to Hackettstown, stopping at Bloomfield, Glen Ridge, Main Street, Walnut Street, Watchard Avenue, Upper Montclair, Montclair Heights, Montclair State University, Little Falls.
A little bit of history of operations on this line. Up until August of '84, this was a 3,000 volt DC operated electric line. In August of '84 was upgraded to 25 kilovolts, and the Arrow MUs began operating on this line to Dover and Gladstone and Montclair from Hoboken. In 1996, the Kearney connection was completed to connect the Morrison Essex with the Northeast Corridor. It was renamed Midtown Direct Service for the trains from this line to New York. And at 4:48, here we have an ALP 45 DP on a train bound for Hackettstown. In the early 2000s, the Montclair branch and the Boonton line were connected, and it was electrified as far as Montclair area, and those trains began operating to points west of Dover via the Boonton line and that routing. Prior to that, it was just MUs terminating at Lackawanna Plaza in Montclair. The Boonton line was served at Erie Plaza since it was a former Erie Railroad line. But the lines were connected in the early 2000s, and a new route was opened up. And this train is going to negotiate that route. The old Montclair branch and the Boonton line to head out towards Hackettstown. Kind of a chilly day, but a beautiful twilight sky here. You'll notice that Hackettstown train went out of here with its pantograph up. He'll use that as far as Montclair, and then he'll drop it and convert to non-electrified operation for the remainder of the trip to Hackettstown. Downtown Newark, New Jersey, the largest city in the state. And 4:57, we have a set of Arrow MUs en route to Hoboken. They've been running up and down this line for over 35 years.
Attention, Newark Broad Street customers. The next train to stop on track 3 will be the 5:06 p.m. westbound train to 7 stopping at Howard Avenue, Mountain Station,
And we have a Dover-bound train at 5:04 p.m. and an eastbound coming.
Stopping at Hoboken. Please stand back from the yellow line. watch the gap between the train and the platform when boarding.
Trying to be alert with these trains because you never know, you might see the PRR Heritage Unit. I've seen the other two already. And he's off to Dover. The other train nearest to me was off to Hoboken. And here we see a light rail train making a reverse move. And we have a set of Arrow MUs for Dover at 5:18. Well, whenever you see Arrow MUs around here, they're either going to or from Hoboken. They can't go anywhere else. Well, here's the 522 from Hoboken to Gladstone with some more Arrow MUs. Very common on the Gladstone trains through here. These things just keep toiling on. There's quite a few of them still in service. When I passed the Meadows shop on the way out here, there were tons of them there. They look something like the Silverliner 4s that are running on SEPTA. Very similar, but there are differences. And 525, that's train 1055, en route from Hoboken to Mount Olive. Mount Olive is west of Dover. It's on the old Lackawanna main line, just east of Hackettstown. Got an Alstom PL42AC doing the honors. And at 5:35 is that inbound Penn Station train pulled up alongside of me in the foreground. That was an interesting train. That's one of two through Penn Station, New York to Gladstone trains. He doesn't stop here. His first stop after New York is Brick Church. 5:36 coming eastbound. What is this? It's a diesel. Looks like a sharp train heading for Meadows. Noisy horn. And 5:43, this is a train from Hoboken to Lake Hopatcong, west of Dover, with a PL 42AC from Alstom. Here we have a Montclair Heights bound train leaving at 5:52.
Attention, Newark Broad Street customers. The next train to stop on track 3 will be the 5:41 p.m. westbound train to Montclair State University, stopping at Rochester Avenue, Bloomfield, Glen Ridge, Bay Street, Walnut Street, Watchung Avenue, Upper Montclair, Mountain Avenue, Montclair Heights, and Montclair State University. Please stand back from the yellow line. Please watch the gap between the train and the platform when boarding.
Contrary to what the indicator sign says, that does not go to Trenton. This is a Dover-bound train. And right away we have a Montclair train at 6 o'clock on the dot with more of those dinosaurs from GE. Nice vantage point from the eastbound platform as a going away shot as a westbound diesel comes in. 6:11, we have a Dover-bound train arriving with the Veterans Unit on the point. Here comes train 880 for Hackettstown at 6:18. Powered by an F40PH-2 or 3C, and 6:26 p.m. Here comes the second and last through train from New York Penn Station to Gladstone. He doesn't stop here. His first stop is Maplewood. Going kind of slow, got a train ahead. Midtown direct service to Gladstone. The Midtown direct service began in 1996 when they opened the Kearny connection. Then we got a train for New York arriving on the eastbound platform at 6:30. See him knock the signal down approaching the Passaic River drawbridge. In a few minutes, should have an interesting train from Hackettstown to Hoboken. Train 880. That last train we saw going to Hackettstown was 881, not 880. Here's train 880 for Hoboken. Should have the CNJ unit shoving. And he made a round trip from Hoboken to Hackettstown. We saw him depart Hoboken at 2:27 p.m.